What is the crack, everybody, and welcome to my video where I got the platinum trophy for the Ghost of Tsushima. And if you don't know what this game is about, I'll fill you in on some details. This game is set in Japan during the first Mongol invasion when they tried to invade Tsushima, and you play as a samurai called Jin Sakai. And this game was released in 2020 by Sucker Punch. And if you don't know who Sucker Punch is, they released one of my favorite childhood games called Sly Raccoon. So with that explained, let me get into the trophies, starting with the first one I got called Gathering Storm. And how I acquired this trophy is by retrieving my katana after getting absolutely wrecked by the Mongol invasions and saved by a woman named Yuna. And then we set out for the castle where Jin Sakai's uncle was being held captive. Jin couldn't get the rescue he wanted because the main bad guy was there to stop him. So it looks like he'll have to find another way, starting with getting help from a samurai who's a master bowman and I'd say a little bit too much into bows. But if we want his help, he wants help in return, finding his protege. Once I was done with him, I went on to get the next trophy, Point of No Return. And how I acquired this trophy was by breaking Jin's code, which was attacking someone from behind, which samurai do not do. All's fair in love and war is what I say. One man with a bow is not enough to take on the Khan, so we decide to recruit one more person, and that is one of the best swordswomen on the island, and also the widower of one of the samurai from the beach. And as everyone in this life knows, you get nothing for free. So if we want her help, we have to help her too. And she wants our help in finding out who unalived her family. This game is definitely not for the lighthearted anyways. And since we're already helping two people, we might as well help Yuna as well, which leads me into the next trophy I got, called Stoking the Flame, which I got for rescuing Yuna's brother Taka from all the Mongols. And it turns out that he's a blacksmith, so he agrees to help make an instrument that'll help us rescue her uncle. And of course, the recruiting does not stop there, for people needed to fight the Khan and the trophies, which is the next one called Company of Wolves, which I got for recruiting Jin's oldest friend and leader of the Straw Hat Ronin. And Jin's old friend also gave us an outfit to make us look like one of the Ronin. The combat in this game makes you feel really badass, like even the quick strikes or the heavy strikes, which brings me to my next trophy, called Open for Business. And how I got this trophy was by staggering 50 enemies. And this is simple enough to do. All you have to do is hit triangle and that staggers them. And the weapon Taka made for us was just a makeshift grapple hook, turning Jin into the first ninja, and Batman, you can eat your heart out. Jin then finds his oldest friend waiting for him to rescue his uncle. But before Jin can go rescue his uncle, his oldest friend asks him for a duel to test his sword skills. And fighting this old friend was an absolute pain in the ass because his moves are unpredictable. And speaking of pain in the ass, the next trophy I managed to get was called Family Reunion. And I acquired this trophy by reuniting with Jin's pain in the ass uncle after rescuing him from Kessel, Canada and the Khan. And since we lost Jin's oldest friend, we decided to recruit someone new, a warrior monk. And of course he asked for our help in return. It's almost like these people don't want the Mongols gone. And speaking of getting new things, the next trophy I managed to get was called Den of Thieves, which I got for discovering Amugi Cove. And Amugi Cove is full of smugglers and Ronin and all them people, and the reason I'm here is to send off a letter to the Shogun for reinforcements. The next trophy that I managed to unlock was called Leader of the People, and how I got this trophy is by rallying all the people of Yorikawa. And this is a quite impressive trophy considering all the people of Yorikawa hate Jin Sakai and his uncle. Jin then returns to his actual family home, where he hasn't been since he was a child, and the only reason he's here is to see his old nanny and to get me my next trophy called Birthright, which is got by recovering Jin's father's armor. And this is some badass armor that you get in the game, but I still think it's only the second best looking one. And the next trophy that I managed to get was called Quick Study, and you get this for learning all the stance moves, which are stone, water, wind and moon, and each stance actually helps you defeat each type of enemy. Dying Embers was the name of the next trophy I managed to get, and how I acquired this is by removing everybody that had something to do with hurting my friend, or should I say Jin's friend. Jin and his uncle decide to give the new samurai a tour of the island on the way to take on the Khan. While fighting the way to the Khan, I got my next trophy called Haunting Precision, which you get for getting 20 kills in the ghost stance. And honest to God, if someone did this in front of me, I don't know whether I'd shit myself or just run or both. Honestly, this is probably what would happen to me if I heard his nickname, which happens to be the same name as this next trophy that I managed to get called The Ghost. How I acquired this trophy is by embracing Jin's darkness and leaving behind his samurai past, which gets him imprisoned by his uncle. After I escaped the prison, I decided to get one of the easier trophies for this game called Gifted. And how I acquired this trophy is by collecting 10 gifts from an altar. And some of these gifts are just absolutely weird looking. But how the gifts get there is by doing random missions with the side characters or just random NPCs. And the upgraded ghost armor has to be the best looking armor in this game. I don't care if you disagree, you can fight me on it if you want. On to the next trophy that I got, which was called Witness Protection. And how you get this trophy is by shooting an enemy as they're are fleeing away from you. Don't know why, but I find this one of the funniest trophies. There's just a big scary man running away from you. Speaking of funny, could you imagine just looking up and you see some fella on a tightrope just wobbling there? The Exiled Alliances is the next trophy I got, and how you get this trophy is just by meeting up with all your pals up the frozen north. Bit of a weird time to take a vacation, but sure, why not? Jin has nerves of steel. He breaks into his uncle's castle, who wants him dead, to leave him a note to help him fight the Khan. And since I mentioned the Khan, the next trophy I managed to get was called Sovereign End, and I got this for confronting the Khan and asking him to leave politely. He did not take me up on that offer though. Speaking of offers, we get an offer from our uncle to go and have a friendly duel with him, and this is where I acquired my next trophy, A Moment in Time, which I got for personalizing a scene in photo mode. And as you can probably tell, I didn't mean to get this trophy here. It's just because of my clumsy ass fingers I started mashing buttons trying to heal. And after that friendly duel with my uncle, I got my next two trophies here, and the first one was the Pathos of Things, and I get this for accepting Jin's fate and leaving his past behind. Slay is the next trophy I got here, and you get this for collecting 15 pieces of vanity gear. I have no idea why this popped here. And just because the Khan is gone, that does mean all his men are gone, which brings me to my next trophy, which is called Good Riddance, and you get this for liberating 8 outposts in Toyomata. And I know I really butchered that name, Jesus. While still trying to rid the island of all the Mongols, I got the next trophy, All in the Wrist, which I acquired for defeating the max amount of enemies you can in one single standoff. Can't do this in the Ghost armor, you have to do this in the Clan Sakai armor. And the next trophy that I managed to get was called Every Trick in the Book, and how I got this trophy is just by acquiring all the throwable ghost weapons, which are definitely well needed to get rid of all the Mongols on this island. And speaking of getting rid of all the Mongols, the next trophy that I managed to get is called Hero of the People, which I got for liberating all 12 outposts in Izuhara. And I'm just going to say this now, as you've probably already figured out, I'm just going to butcher every name like this. And the next trophy that I managed to unlock was called Flash of Steel, and how I got this trophy is by defeating 20 enemies after counter-attacking them from a perfect parry. And once again, this game shows you how badass Jin Sakai can actually be. And speaking of Jin being a badass, this next trophy I got was called A Fight for the Isle, and you get this for liberating all outposts in Izuhara. This is just one fella taking out all the outposts on his island. Jin is not just a master of the sword or bow, he's also a master of other things, like for this next trophy, Have a Nice Fall, which is where Jin karate kicks a man 300 style off a cliff to his death. Still getting rid of all the Mongols for this next trophy, and it was called Securing Sanctuary. And how I got this trophy is by liberating all the outposts in Toyomata, liberating all the camps, but yet they're still everywhere in them goddamn forests. Staying with the same theme, the next trophy I got was called Mass Eviction. This trophy you get for liberating 7 outposts in Kamagata. With all the camps I've cleared out, you'd think the rest of them would have just been like, yeah, you know what, I think it's time for us to leave. I once again get 2 trophies at once here, and one of them was named A New Safe Haven, and this is for clearing out all the camps in Kamagata. How is Jin still going at this point? The other trophy was Master Liberator, and you get this for clearing out all the camps throughout Tsushima. And all these guys are so thick-headed, they still haven't got the message to just get off the island. And Jin is still going with this next trophy called the Unbending Archer, and this is just helping Ishigawa finish off looking for his apprentice. He ends up finding her and wishing her bon voyage, and this next trophy I got was called the Vengeful Warrior, and once again this is for helping Masako finish off her tales. She and I find out who destroyed her family and we put them to rest. She probably has one of the most heartbreaking stories as well in this game. I then took a break from the tales to get this next trophy called the Perfect Storm, and how I got this trophy is by fully upgrading my sword, and I really wish I did this a lot sooner. It would have made the game that bit easier. The next trophy I got then was called the Warrior Monk, and how I got this trophy is by completing Norio's quests. Norio just goes and fucks everyone up, so I would suggest not messing with the Warrior Monk. And this was the last trophy for the tales, and it was called the Headstrong Thief. I'm sure by this point you could guess what it is, but this one is for helping out Yuna and completing all her quests. Once again, this is such a sad backstory. Did anyone on this island actually have good luck at all? Even just normal luck, for the love of God. In less depressing matters, the next trophy I managed to get was called Monochrome Masters. How you get this trophy is by buying something from the Black Dye Merchant and the White Dye Merchant. I was actually so sad to see that they didn't have white ghost armor. The armor in white would look so good. The next trophy I got was called Lost and Found, and you get this for discovering a Pillar of Honor and taking up the Sword Sheath, or Sword Kit, or whatever you want to call it. I reckon they should rename this trophy to Finders Keepers. The next trophy that I managed to get my hands on was called the Ghost of Legend, and how I got this trophy is by reaching max level in the game, and it's fairly easy to reach max level. All you have to do is play through the story, the side missions, and just unalive everyone that's invaded. And I'm sure this next trophy, Teller of Tales, helps with the legend as well, because how you get this trophy is just by completing all the mythic tales. You get to earn a lot of cool cool moves when you do these tales. The next trophy I got was called Know Your Enemy. How I got this trophy is by collecting 20 Mongol artifacts. You'll find these at all the Mongol camps, they're not that hard to find. This next trophy that I got was called There Can Be Only One. And how I got this trophy is by completing and winning every duel. And this last one wasn't even a duel, it was just some fella pretending to be a samurai. Next trophy I got was called Helping Sword Hand. And I got this for completing all the tales in Tsushima. This is for just completing missions around Tsushima and all the different places and the mythic tales. And would you look at that, I got another milestone complete. Go me. This next trophy that I got was called A Charming Man, and you get this for equipping all 6 charms into your charm slots. This trophy also leads to another trophy later on, but what it leads to most importantly is you get to pet some foxes. Look how adorable they are, how could you not pet them? And I was back to the trophies with this one called Avid Reader, and all this trophy is just collecting 20 records, similar to the trophy Know Your Enemy. And the next trophy I got was called Favor of the Kami. How I got this trophy is by finding and honoring all the shrines throughout Tsushima. It's very dangerous to do them. This next trophy wasn't that dangerous, and it's called Honor the Unseen, and all you have to do is bow in 10 secret altars throughout Tsushima. The next trophy I got was called Light the Way, and you get this for rekindling all the lighthouses throughout Tsushima. Look how nice this game still looks. Next trophy I got was a bit of a grind called Body, Mind and Spirit. The reason it was a grind is because you have to travel throughout all of Tsushima to complete all the haikus, all the bamboo shoots, Neri shrines, and all the hot springs. Next trophy that I managed to acquire was a bit sad, and it was called Dirge of the Fallen Forge. And to get this trophy, it's fairly simple. All you have to do is play a certain song at a certain friend's grave. I thought it should have been at a loyal friend's grave, but it wasn't. And this brings me on to my last trophy just before the platinum, called the Cooper Clan Cosplay. And to get it, all you have to do is dress Jin like Sly Cooper. And then the platinum trophy popped for me. And this is the end of the platinum journey, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one, and have a great day.